Aquí tu amigo locutor, programador y muy bien desconocido Dr. G.
Y el Manolo Diabólico. Buenas noches, raza. Tenemos con nosotros esta noche a Quiet Fear. Una banda chicanex es hardcore de East Los Ángeles. Chavos, ¿gustan presentarse?
Buenas noches, soy Jonathan, el vocalista de Quiet Fear.
Buenas noches, soy Edgar, toco la batería.
Buenas, soy Adrián, toco el bajo.
Y yo soy Christopher y yo toco la guitarra.
Órale, pues bienvenidos chavos aquí a Radio Mi Vecindad, and we're going to do a spotlight. Just tell us a little bit about la canción que acabamos de escuchar off of your first EP.
Pues cuando grabamos la canción, así como estábamos hablando, la grabamos en un garaje de nuestro ex baterista, que fue el primer baterista.
Uh-huh.
Todo fue así, lo hicimos todo nosotros, así, super DIY. No sabíamos cómo iba a salir, nomás eran canciones que teníamos ahí, pues así salió.
Aquí en Radio Mi Vecindad hemos tocado música going back to our college days at UCSC, listening to a lot of melodic Midwest hardcore when it was coming out in the 90s. This style just kind of sort of reminds us a lot of that. So how do you guys describe your music, and what are the themes that you guys focus on?
I would say the best way to describe it is we're very well rooted in, I guess, tradition. What we see is traditional post-hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then we try to flavor it with our own culture and experience from our upbringing. That's the best way I can describe it.
I think for me, it's kind of hard to explain just because kind of like, I guess how Adrian was saying, to me, it's what post-hardcore sounds like, post-hardcore screamo, but to other people, it isn't that. I guess when we were starting the band and writing these songs from the Delirio EP, we were kind of like, well, are these screamo? Are these is this hardcore punk? Is this post-hardcore? We don't know.
So I think this is something that has come up in some of like the more recent generations. Scrams. How did that come about? And do you guys think that's fitting, or when you guys hear it, are you guys like scratching your head?
I think for me personally, when we first started this band, we were trying to be a scrams band, and when that was going on, that term was just coming out as well. Like it wasn't even a genre that existed. There was just these screamo post-hardcore bands that started saying they were scrams, and that kind of gave it its own genre of screamo. It's not screamo, it's scrams. Either you're screamo or scrams. To me, what scrams would be is kind of like really noisy, loud, fast riff, a messy sound. I guess we were trying to be that, but at the same time we weren't, because when we would be playing, I remember personally saying that, oh, we're a scrams band, and then I would get told, that doesn't sound like scrams. That's not scrams. It sounds more like, you guys are not scrams. You guys are like just regular screamo or post-hardcore sounding, or just emo.
Yeah, for me, a lot of the people were more like, oh, you guys are a hardcore band. Which to me, I didn't really like take much offense, because a lot of my older projects before even Quiet Fear or getting together with Chris to form any kind of music, I was in a deathcore band, I was in a hardcore band. So a lot of that influence, I think, just kind of bled into this band in the same sense of the way I write. I feel like it's a little bit more forward, a little bit more punk in the way it's written. And to me, it was just like, I never really thought like, oh, Quiet Fear is a scrams band, or it's a this or that. I just felt like it's whatever people want to, whatever people want to call it. I don't, when people ask me like, what kind of band are you in? What kind of music do you play? I'm just more like, it's just influenced by punk, dude.
We're definitely excited to have you guys join us tonight. I've been a huge fan of you guys. I listened to the split that you guys did with Masanera and have been a fan, took a deep dive into your guys' catalog. So tonight we're wanting to share your guys' music. So we're going to go right now and go back to your EP from 2018, Melodías de la Luna Muerta. And we'll take a listen to Cenizas and Rosas de Valor. And then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about your music.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mi vecindad.
Chantas Los gritos quiebran el silencio. La sangre hierve en el cuerpo. La tierra vibra del movimiento. Y el sufrimiento quema en el pecho. Manos unidas, puños cerrados, derrotando las barreras. Lenguas filosas, brotan los llantos, resonarán las palabras, rosas de valor. Siempre florecerán. Siempre de la miseria nace la fortaleza y del desprecio crece la resistencia de las mentiras. Fluye la rabia y del rechazo y media la espada. Rosas de valor siempre florecerán. Y crecen, florecen. Y crecen,
Melodías a la luna muerta. That is really dark. What's going on there?
That's Jonathan right there, naming the record.
Órale. Jonathan, so part of that backyard scene, it's documented actually, right? It became something of not only a cultural phenomena, but an outlet for a lot of the youth in LA.
Yeah.
There wasn't any, and still today, I remember there was an era where they were trying to do all age shows. All of a sudden, everyone wanted to fucking sell beer. So there was no more all age shows. Very little, unless you go to a festival.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, how many Chicano, Latino, Mexican American bands are even still invited to festivals?
Not very much.
Hell no.
So your experience,
Because the raza gets wild, man.
but going back to that culture phenomena, as Diabolico was expressing, we feel that you guys definitely are a representative of not only whatever the fuck the genre is, it's yours, it's your music, and we love it and we appreciate it.
And I love the fact that you guys are very open about your heritage at your shows, posting La Bandera del Salvador. A couple of you fellas son de familias salvadoreñas, right?
Yeah. Adrian and Edgar son salvadoreños. Jonathan and I are the Mexicans.
So we listened to Cenizas and Rosas de Valor, both of Melodías de la Luna Muerte. And earlier we had touched a little bit about your guys' sound. And I'm curious about if you guys wanted to just talk a little bit more about bands that inspired and influenced your music.
Well, I think for all of us, we all grew up listening to post-hardcore, hardcore metal that are dominantly white. I mean, I actually think this goes for all of us. We all grew up listening to At the Drive-In. I think when we started this band, we wanted it to feel like at the drive-in-ish where they have that super raw sound. And knowing that at the drive-in has Latino members, it kind of just inspired us even more.
For me, my dad, he used to be, or he still is, like a big El Tri fan. He used to listen to like Three Souls and stuff. You know, growing up as a little kid, you know, you're over here listening to these songs and, you know, and you're just like, oh, okay, cool. Like, this is really cool, you know. And I guess for me, if you really want to say like what's like one of the earliest influences, it was probably like El Tri. My dad also listened to a lot of like classic rock, Rolling Stones and stuff like that. And then like, you know, when I started finding my own music, I remember one of the first records I happened to stumble upon like on the floor was like the first self-title of like Limp Bizkit. And that kind of opened up like a whole new world for me. And then my dad also listens to like a lot of rap and stuff like that. So if anything, I would say it's because of my dad that I listen to a lot of like, not what Mexican people would consider music, you know. My mom's more like on the other side, you know, like she listens more to like the mariachi stuff and like, you know, cumbias and stuff like that.
Your first album, Hasta la Muerte Si Es Preciso, I did notice from like both of your first EPs, then going to that album, there was stylistically, there was a little bit of a leap. So we're going to listen to Nubes and Piel Sagrada. And if you guys can, when we come back, and if you guys can share a little bit about, you know, your first album and how that came to be.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mi vecindad.
Shut up! sus leyes con placas y plomo que abusan la gente. Enjaulan y matan a padres y hijos y lloran sus madres. Contra las riquezas que nacen pobrezas en las vecindades. Dominan las tierras de nuestras cosechas bañadas en sangre. Imponen sus leyes con placas y plomo que abusan la gente. Enjaulan y matan a padres y hijos y lloran sus padres. Se ha muerto nuestra fe al sistema injusto. Se han quebrado sus barreras que dividen la gente. El valor de mi ser no será dignado por mi piel. El valor de mi ser no será dignado por mi piel.
Yeah, both of those songs, Nubes, Piel Sagrada, are amazing songs on your first album, Hasta la Muerte si es preciso. It's what inspired those songs, and what is the intention when you guys do a song in Spanish versus a song in English?
I think for me, like when I write in Spanish, and this could be because that's my first language, but I felt like it was always easier for me to communicate what I wanted to say, like internally.
Mm-hmm.
And I also felt like there's also like just words in Spanish to me sound a lot more powerful, a lot more like to the point, like in your face, like with more intention behind it.
Mm-hmm.
When I was like writing Piel Sagrada, I was just kind of like, you know, growing up, I grew up with like, a lot of like Mexicans and, you know, in a very Mexican neighborhood. But, you know, there was always like the lighter, like, you know, Mexicans, you know. Even though like I'm Mexican myself because of my skin tone, my skin color, it was always like where my parents are from too. Like, you know, Cuernavaca, Morelos. Like it's not, you don't really hear a lot of people coming from over there, and it just made me feel like I was, you know, even though I'm amongst my own people, I still feel like an outcast. And I worked like since I was like 17 years old. I used to work like construction jobs, and a lot of these like. A lot of the people that I used to work with were like obviously like the white guys and stuff like that, and they never thought that I knew how to speak English or that I even understood it, and they would like talk shit about me and stuff like that. And I think all of that kind of is like it's kind of like an idea of what the song is, you know. It's like, you know, that no matter my skin tone, no matter, you know, where I come from and stuff like that, you know, like I hold value and I am valuable and I am like a force to be reckoned with and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely, man. Listening to all the music that you guys have done, me topé con un video. It was what was it? The New Friends Fest 2023. And it was, you guys were doing a dual set with Masanera. That was amazing. It was just amazing to watch. And it just kind of seemed like there was a lot of mutual respect with both of you and them. How did that go down? And what was that experience like?
I remember when we started talking about it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we should do like a versus thing," you know, like where we're both on stage. And in my head, the way like I pictured it was just like, "Oh yeah, like they're gonna play a song, and then we're gonna try to play a song and kind of like outshine each other and stuff like that." It was really weird and beautiful in a way, because it's like, they're an East Coast band, we're a West Coast band, and you know we're nothing the same in the sense of like sound wise we're like completely different bands, and then as people we're kind of completely different people, but somehow we just kind of we mix really well with each other and we fuck with each other, you know, really well. And it's just kind of a thing where it's like when we finally went on stage and we're just like, all right, let's do this. So then it really did seem kind of like a battle of the bands. But then it's like, there's a moment where I believe Chris from Masanera gave like a speech and kind of saying like how much he loves us as individuals, as friends, as, you know, musicians or whatever. And it just really felt like it was super heartfelt. And I was just kind of like, this is crazy, you know, like that this is happening. And think after that, it kind of like inspired a bunch of other people to like kind of do the same thing. And I thought that was really cool.
It was just, you know, like as a fan of both bands, it was just really awesome to watch. Otra canción de Hasta la Muerte, si es preciso. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing this correctly. Yaoyotl.
Yaoyotl.
Ok, vamos a escuchar a Yaoyotl y luego después vamos a escuchar 1500 de El Split. That's the name of the album, que salió en 2022.
Nice. That sounds good.
Gritos de rabia recorren las calles de la ciudad. Cuerdas con fuerza derriban estatuas de falsedad. Llamas encienden los monumentos de la municipal. Llenas de
So, ¿ese álbum era un split con dos otras bandas?
Ya, sí, era un split con, creo que eran 4 bandas. Una canción cada banda. But the funny thing about that split is that when we recorded that split, all the bands in that split broke up. I wish that didn't happen because I really like those songs and we could have used them for something else. Like maybe they could have gone on the record after that, or maybe even been put on the EP before or something, you know? Because I feel like those songs definitely haven't been played much, or people just tend to skip it or just don't listen to it. Like people just forget it exists.
So, was it this year, en marzo, cuando se lanzaron a un mini tour en México?
We've toured out of the country a good amount of times, but we just did a tour in Mexico in March, yeah.
Okay. ¿Y cómo les fue? ¿Con quién tocaron?
We played with una banda de Tijuana que se llama Cypress. Nos fue súper bien. Fue la primera vez que Edgar sale con nosotros a hacer una gira a México, pero sí nos fue muy bien.
Yeah, Mexico was cool. The Cypress, they were awesome, very welcoming group of guys.
There's a lot of like cool, heavy, hardcore stuff coming out of Mexico. We featured quite a bit of it on there. So I was just super curious, like if you guys, anyone that you guys played with that, you know, you guys were like, you know, impressed by or keep in contact with.
What was the name of the? There's a band de Acapulco.
Deshuesadero.
Yeah, there's a band called Deshuesadero. Yeah, they're super good.
They're from Acapulco, and yeah, they're so good.
So you guys have toured Mexico ya cuántas veces, Juan?
Son como, quiero decir, 5 veces ya, por ahí.
So do you guys go deep o nomás, digamos, al norte or?
Nah, we've gone deep. I think the first time it's funny because after we released Melodías de la Luna Muerta, 2017, and we did a big Mexico tour with Aves.
Yeah.
That tour was in 2017, and we went through we played Colima, Manzanillo. So we hit like all these little small pueblos, not even like the big city. I mean, we hit Guadalajara,
Puebla,
Ciudad de Mexico, and we went to Puebla, León,
Monterrey,
San Luis Potosí. And we were driving, so we weren't even flying everywhere. We were like driving through all of Mexico, you know, all the pueblos and playing all the spots that all the big bands never go to.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like something that I like to do. That I like that we do when we do these tours is that we always hit like not just the major cities, but like, you know, the small cities, you know, in between.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool because like people actually show up, you know, they come out and they're like super grateful that a band's even like, you know, stopping by. You know, that's like kind of like the best thing you can do, you know, when you have some kind of platform to do anything is to, you know, share like, you know, with like other people that don't have the opportunity or the chance to come out to these shows or these like go to the major cities to see a band that they really like. And also it's just like, you know, you never know who you can inspire. And that's always been like the ultimate goal, at least for me, making music is just to inspire like, especially kids that look like me that don't get represented, you know, on TV, on magazines, you know, like I remember growing up, that was like a thing where I was just like, I used to see like AP magazine and it was always like, you know, these güeros, these gringos, you know, like seeing super metal and stuff like that. But it's like, you never saw like, you know, somebody like me. A lot of people are just like, damn, do you look like hella indigenous, you know, this and that.
So el nombre, Quiet Fear.
A lot of the inspiration also for like the lyrics and stuff like that, it comes from like, you know, experiences my parents had in the past, you know. I've, like I said, you know, working all kinds of like labor jobs and stuff like that. You work with a lot of undocumented people and like you see the fear in their eyes and, you know, you hear the stories of their migration and stuff like that. And, you know, or you hear the stories of like, you know, of their neighborhoods and stuff like that. And that kind of is like a lot of the inspiration behind, you know, a lot of the stuff that I write about, you know, with the ICE raids, you know, like working out of maintenance, you have, you know, porters that clean the property, you know, and stuff like that. And a lot of the times, like, you know, like they were like super scared and they would, you know, they would come to me to be like, hey, like if ICE shows up, like, you know, well, what's the protocol? What can we do?
Yeah. That's fucking scary, dude, because that shit's fucking real, man, you know?
Yeah, my dad, dude. My dad, I remember when he was at work, he used to call me and he used to be like, hey, like, I think I just saw, like, La Migra pass by. Can you check where they're at? Like, that to me was like, damn, like, that sucks, like, to live with that fear, to not be able to be comfortable. He's worked his whole life, done taxes and stuff like that, even though he never gets anything in return. And to know that, like, the fact that it's like you have to do your taxes even though you don't have any of the rights that you should have. It's like, what the fuck? Like, and then you guys are still going to come and, like, instill all this fear on these people that are just out here, working, like, doing the jobs that, like, even U.S. citizens don't want to do,
Right.
I don't understand, it's
to try to paralyze communities and basically just fear. It's massive fear campaigns. Presidio, man. So the split that you guys did with Mazanera, Cuatro Vientos, Cinco Soles, this fucking song, man, especially, like once it gets to the chorus, blew me away.
I wanted a song to sound like that, where it gives the listener, especially that vocal part, where it's just like, the shout back part, where it's like the chant vocal part. It's like, man, this could be that. Like, I want people to learn this song and take the mic from Jonathan and just go crazy. And it was so hard because it was like, now we were trying to decide, should we do it in English? Should we do it in Spanish? We came to the point where it's like, well, we have a lot of songs in Spanish. Let's kind of make this one in English because, I mean, that's also our language, That's how it came to be. But I love that song too. I always want to play that song.
We're gonna listen to two songs that have been released off of your upcoming album, El Abismo Abajo. The second one, Pseudo Cristo, we played it a few weeks ago. But the first one that we're going to listen to is Soledad.
Thanks to Iodine, shout out Iodine. Everybody in the team right now has been super, super nice, and they've been helping us with a lot of PR work that we have always been bad at doing. You know, we don't know like the first thing of how to do the proper PR, work. They're doing it all for us, so that's really cool. As for booking, they put us on Fest this year, which will be late October, so that's awesome. And I know Iodine has like a showcase just with Iodine record band, Iodine bands and Fest. So we're gonna be part of that showcase. It should be really cool to finally meet them and see them play, hang out.
Vamos a escuchar ahora a Soledad y luego después Suro Cristo.
Mi vecindad.
Are you guys doing like another tour soon?
I think right now we're just playing the festivals we have lined up, and we're trying to do a tour at the end of the year in December in Chile.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just because we have friends out there that throw a festival every December in Chile, and we were trying to make that happen. I mean, if we're going to do the festival, we're going to be like, well, we're already out here. Let's try to get a couple dates in here somewhere.
Yeah, shout out to Cienfuegos. Super cool guys, too. Like, super cool. Super chill.
I saw a social media post, and I was going to ask you guys where we're on the same lineup with Viva Belgrado. You guys played with them?
Oh, yeah.
We played with them
in Guatemala.
Oh, wow.
And Colombia.
Yeah, they're one of our favorite bands here, man.
I had my first chuco over there in Guatemala.
You know what's a chuco?
It's basically like a hot dog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the chucos over there.
I remember the homie that was showing us around. He's like, "Oh, have you guys ever had a chuco?" And I was like, "What the hell is that?" And I like to eat. That's my thing. So I remember I was just like, "Yeah, dude, let's go." And he took us to like this little hole in the wall, and he was just like, "You're not gonna get sick. This is the best spot." And I was just like, "All right, cool."
Yeah, we hadn't played yet, so we played with Viva Belgrado in Guatemala. So when we went to the show, Jonathan was just like trying not to shit his pants.
God.
Yeah, but we love that band too. That's one of my favorite bands too.
Yeah, I just saw that and I was like, oh man, that must have been an amazing show.
I didn't think I would ever get to play with that band because I'm like, they're from Spain. They never come to the States, and it just happened to line up when we were doing that tour that a friend of ours was like, yo, they're going to be here. Do you guys want to play? And I was just, put us on that. We'll be there.
Yeah, I think it was like the first time was Colombia, no? When you were in Colombia, yeah.
Yeah, the first time we went to Colombia, yeah.
Any other bands, English, Spanish, or Italiano, that you guys fanboyed on that you're like, wow, we're on the same fucking bill?
Yeah, I think for me it was Rain when they played New Friends.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
That's one of my favorite bands. I think that's one of Adrian's favorite bands too. It was surreal. Like, I didn't think I would ever in my life get to see that band play, and I was just like right next to them, like on the stage. Like, I could smell them.
How'd they smell?
They smell very stinky.
I think what for me was also when we played with like Page 99 and we were like on stage with them. It was like, to me, it also felt like a very like cool guy moment. Like, I'm just like, oh, I'm on the stage like with the band. I think the drummer at the time, like, he came out to do like a part with them, like a build up part. It was really cool. Like, he jumped off stage. It was crazy. It was like one of those moments where I was just like, dude, like, this is cool. Like, I've never experienced this before, so it was like really nice.
Muchas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros esta noche. Dealer's choice. How would you guys like to end the show?
That's the first kind of dealer's choice. I've never been asked to close the show. I think you had mentioned it earlier, but I wanted to go back to when we were talking about the name. I'm glad that you shared what your initial thoughts for it was. I get approached at our shows a lot, and you had asked us like, how would we describe our music, or what do you think you try to play? And I've heard from multiple people at different shows. Like, I've heard people call us black metal. I've heard people call us scrams. I've heard people call us like Hispanic power violence. I've heard other people call us new age post-hardcore. I'd ask you guys, your initial listen of our music, like, what did you think we were?
I grew up listening to like a lot of like Midwest emo hardcore, like in the early 90s. Like, it reminded me a little bit of that. Also, at the same time, just like, especially your early stuff, like some of the guitar was very like raw and powerful. It just kind of brought to me a lot of stuff, and like the influences that I hear in your music. And I love how your music has evolved from the early EPs to the albums. And I can't wait for La Misma Abajo to drop, man.
I can't wait either. We haven't listened to that damn record since we recorded it. At first, when we started the band, I personally thought I had like an idea of what I wanted it to be, I guess, for me personally, that I wanted it to be more scrams, screamo-ish, but it ended up I feel like we just ended up doing whatever we wanted, and we just ended up incorporating where we're from, and you could kind of tell, you could hear that, because I like to use a lot of mariachi chords and certain chords that give that kind of culture sound. You know, I feel like I've been able to do that really well naturally. At one point, I felt kind of like, man, I think people don't like it because it doesn't sound scrams, or it doesn't sound like real screamo. But I hit the point where, or I feel like all of us too, were just like, man, who fucking cares? So with the new records, you know, talking about the new record is, I feel like it resembles what the first EP would have been if we would have had all the years of us being a band together.
Órale.
So there's a lot of like dissonant chords and a lot of stuff we tried that we hadn't tried before, and I feel like the whole songs in general just sound really good.
Yeah. So how many songs are going to be on the new album?
There's 13.
So Adrian, did you come to the song?
I just listen to a lot of stuff. I feel like, at least in the band, I feel like I listen to a lot more abstract stuff. So I'm just constantly listening to music. Kind of going into what Chris said, like the reason this new record is going to have a lot more nuances is because I feel it's the first time we've tried to implement sounds and ideas from a wide range of music outside of even post-hardcore and screamo.
All right, I'll choose. Let's close with
The Fósforos?
Fósforos
That's a good one.
from Melodías.
Chavos, we really appreciate you guys joining us. Fucking awesome. The music is killer. Looking forward to just a couple of weeks from now for your guys' album to drop.
June 19th, I believe.
Caja de Fósforos. Mi vecindad.